Guys, I want you to meet Josh Lafazan, the one and only. He is the youngest legislator in the country, correct? And you run what district?
So District 18 of the Nassau County Legislature.
Awesome. How old are you?
26.
26 years old, you see? So we stick together as young animals. But I wanted to ask Josh a question. On the way here, I thought about it. I wanted your opinion on private sector and the government and how you think the government's play is in the real estate side of the assets they own, how they liquidate, the whole nine. So let's assume Oyster Bay has a beautiful piece of property and they don't have any use for it. What type of liquidation play or lease play do you think you see fit for some sort of private sector guy like me?
Well, it's an interesting question because I'm at the county legislature. So the town of Oyster Bay has majority power when it comes to zoning of their properties. The county, we work with the town of Oyster Bay, but we don't have direct influence. What I'll say to my colleagues in the town of Oyster Bay is I think private-public partnerships are the way of the future when they're responsible for taxpayers. What we've seen in the county is we've seen private-public taxpayers. For example, Nice Bus. So we have bus service in Nassau County. The old deal ended up cutting routes, ended up cutting service, and taxpayers lost. It's what I'm sick and tired of seeing is governments being sold out to the highest bidder. What I want to see is young, hungry entrepreneurs come with a good deal that works for the private sector because there has to be incentive and works for the government. Government needs to be receptive. And quite frankly, government's usually receptive to the people that donate to their campaigns. I don't like that. Government needs to be receptive to folks who want to make a difference, drive the tax base. So I think government needs to open its ears.
Yeah, spoken like a true professional. That's why I love this guy. But just to touch on that, so you're basically pro-private and government sector sticking together as long as it makes sense for the taxpayers. Correct. And you want some sort of mission-driven business or activity done.
I do, and here's what I don't like. I don't like when people in government sell out to the highest bidder, which is what we've seen, which is why we need campaign finance.
I feel like we're on Fox or CNN or something, like it's an interview.
I'm passionate about it because what I see in government is people are sell out to their donors, and when they do that, they erode trust in government. That's why I'm different. I give my cell phone out to every one of my constituents. A lot of people in government give it out to their high donors. So what I'd like to see is a more open process. I'd like government to say, our ears are open and we're listening, so that a 24-year-old can come in with a business idea that may make more sense than somebody who's 55 that comes in. But the 55-year-old comes in, donates to a politician, and gets their ear.
Yeah.
That's the difference here.
Yep.
So to me, if the deals work for taxpayers, then we should be receptive. Because government, as wonderful of a driver of social change it can be, and as wonderful of a place, because I believe, and I say it unapologetically, that government can be a place where everyone comes together and nobody gets left behind. But government can only do so much.
Yeah.
And when government tries to do too much is when they mess up.
Yeah.
That's where the private sector comes in.
Setting aside politics now, that's the only question I had. Josh is a fucking beast, guys. Let me just clarify here. Kid went to Nassau Community College, then Cornell, then Harvard. I mean, Josh, how do you go from a community college to an Ivy, to the best Ivy basically in the country? Like, what drove you to do that?
Sure. One, it was fidelity to a simple motto, that it's not where you start, but it's where you finish. Mm-hmm. Harboring fidelity to that motto helps you achieve the larger picture. Everyone wants to be Jeff Bezos tomorrow. Jeff Bezos wasn't Jeff Bezos tomorrow. You see the picture of him, packing books, on his knees on the concrete floor. When you have a long-term vision, it allows you to get there. Because as my little brother Justin, is he in the shot here? No, he's on the shot here. He says all the time, we greatly overestimate how much we can get done in a year, but we underestimate how much we can get done in 10 years. Yeah. And so having a long-term vision allows you the humility to say, I'm at Nassau Community College, I'd like to be at Harvard. But to get there, I gotta get the tools now to get me to the next step.
Yeah, and I love Jeff Bezos. He picked a real vertical. I tell people this all the time. Be extremely specific. He sold books. That's all he sold. For as long as it took him to get from books to the next product, the next product, the next product. And a lot of people don't know this. The biggest portion of Amazon is Amazon Web Services. Mm-hmm. I think Amazon Web Services is alone worth $650 to $700 billion. And they power like everything we see in this world. So his main driver isn't even the e-commerce side anymore, which is the face. But that's what people think. So I think you're 100% right with what you said. It was a quick business lesson on Jeff Bezos and Amazon, which was nice.
No, but it's important, and case in point, like if you want biceps like Allon, you can't just go to the gym tomorrow and get ripped. But I'm dead serious, is that you have to have a long-term vision and have the humility to say, I'm not where I want to be, but here's how I get there.
These are just good genetics. Don't be fooled.
I got it, but you know, it's this lesson that you embody in what you do, is that I am not where I want to be, which nobody should be, because we all should be continually growing. But I have the humility to say, I'm not there yet. Let me speak to folks who have gotten there. Let me replicate exactly what they've done.
And when did you get voted in?
My first election, I was 18.
18?
Yeah.
See, an 18-year-old...
Well, but this is the point. I was
yeah.
18 years old. I didn't run for state senate at 18. I would have loved to. I ran for school board. Now, people, you know, and and right now at 26, I'm a Nassau County Legislature. I see a lot of young people run for Congress and lose. Now, yes, it's more sexy to run for Congress. My job, I deal with a lot of potholes. I do a lot of cleaning of the roads.
I love what you said. I think it was on a Newsday article. I read it. I didn't even mention it to you, but you talked about being hyper-focused. You're a
hyper-local. And I say potholes are not partisan, because at the local level, there's no Republican or Democratic way to pave a road.
Yeah.
And so, case in point, I'd love to be in Congress. I'd love to be in Congress when I was 18. You got to be 25. But my point was, I said to my constituents, I have the humility to say, I'm young. I'm going to learn the job from the ground up. So when I'm ready to get from point A to point B, my constituents will be confident to send me there. And so if you want to start a business, you don't have to create $1 billion business overnight.
100%.
Have the humility to say, I'm going to learn how they did it, and I'm going to get there one day.
Although those unicorn companies are valued over $1 billion, like fast, like that. So although I'd love to have that one day, I'm in the real estate business, not on the tech side yet. So this shit takes time.
Of course it does.
You know, but that's why we're sitting down in high-level discussions and going over the future, how we could, you know, impact a larger group of people, something socially driven.
Right.
That's a lot of the discussions we have, and I think our visions align big time.
And it's what you're doing is you, so young, have achieved such a wealth of knowledge in a specific area. You're spending your time to give it back. And that to me is why I love you and why we're friends. Because when you climb up the ladder, and neither of us are where we want to be, but when you climb up the ladder and you achieve some success, it is your moral imperative to reach your hand back down the ladder and pull the next person up.
Yep.
And if you're not doing that, then you are not. That's
why I'm shooting this content. You
100%.
know, some people start making fun of it in
it's
the
real.
beginning.
It's real.
And now they think a lot of people think it's cool. But I'm like, you know what? I have nothing to sell. I'm just here doing this to help people.
Because people along the way helped you.
That's it.
And and this is the theme of what I talk about is young people need to have the humility to ask for help. I see a lot of young people are afraid to reach out for help because they say...
And ask questions, and that's a mistake.
They think it's a sign of weakness. And I get it. They say, I'm weak if I admit that I don't know something. I went to Cornell and Harvard.
Mistake.
I don't know a ton. But I ask, and I ask questions. And if you ask me a question I don't know, I'm going to say, I don't know, teach me, and next time I'm going to know it better than you.
Yeah.
And that hunger for knowledge, by the way, our generation grew up with Google. Imagine our parents having to go to the library and flip through an encyclopedia. We have Google at our fingertips.
Yeah.
So,
and you know what? To touch on that too, on the entrepreneur side, I don't know anything about videography, editing, anything whatsoever. I needed Steve to help me set up my TikTok account, but I have Steve. Steve's looped into my life for that reason. I don't know much about the commercial side of things, but that's why I looped in Allon right there. Allon helps me with everything commercial. He's with me all the time.
Because you get a lot further when you collaborate.
That's it.
And you don't have to be in, what did you just say? Specificity. You don't have to be an expert in everything.
Yeah.
And mind you, I'm a politician. Now, most politicians are not geniuses. It's not, it's not going to shock you here.
Yeah.
I consider myself a bright guy, but when we have an issue about municipal finance and bonding, I'll go to people who are experts in finance.
Why am I not looped into this?
You're getting looped in.
Right,
You're getting looped in. When I have an issue about policing and public safety, I'll go to experts in public safety and policing. When we have an issue about roads and building, I'll go to some master builders. Because when we collaborate, we get a lot further than we do ourselves.
Yeah. Well said.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.